Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, what a way to finish off the season for the Baltimore Orioles, going into Minnesota and sweeping the Twins. For the most part, the standings for the Orioles and the placement in the postseason was almost locked up before the season series, for the final series with the Twins. Orioles only needing one win to lock up that top wild card spot, or at the same time, a loss for the Tigers or a loss for the Royals, whatever other that scenario was. And yeah, I guess a loss for the Twins because they were in it and were essentially eliminated when the Orioles clinched with Game 1 of that series. As you can see, I'm on massinsports.com. Let's get right into it. Oh, I was at the bottom for some reason. Baltimore Orioles 7, Minnesota Twins 2. This from Target Field in Minneapolis. And with this win here, the Orioles did clinch the top wild card spot. Who they would play would have to wait until Sunday. Of course, now as you can see the ad up there, we know it will be the Kansas City Royals. They will be coming into Baltimore. At least for the first two games. Pretty sure, the first two games should be at Baltimore. Or I'll get into how it's actually scheduled later on. This game here, that's what I'm talking about. Henderson, over. Did drive in a run and walk once. Jordan Westburg, over. Did drive in a run, though. Wow. 8 official at-bats. Give Gunnar a few more because there was a fielder's choice in there and a walk. But they didn't get a hit. And he still won. To a certain extent, there's luck involved. You know, sometimes the ball just has to find a spot. Sometimes you just got to play the team at the right time. Playing the Minnesota Twins at the right time because they're struggling a bit as of late. Santander, 2 hits, an RBI, walked once. Cowser, hit, an RBI, runs scored. Also struck out 3 times. It's not great from your cleanup hitter. Rutschman, 2 hits and a run scored. O'Hearn, a hit, 2 RBIs and a run scored. Rivera pinch hitting late, as always. He does get a hit. And Jackson Holliday comes in and runs for him. Not that it was really needed. Holliday does end up scoring, so he gets a run scored, but with his own plate appearance later in the game, a strikeout. Ryan Mountcastle, 3 hits and a run scored. Mullins, a hit, walked once, and scored once. Ramon Arias, a hit and an RBI and a run scored. Mountcastle with double. O'Hearn and Cowser with home runs. Nice to see O'Hearn finish with a home run, or at least one home run in the series. Get his power going. Cade Povich gets a start in this game. A Minnesota Twins former prospect, just like Yanier Cano and Danny Coulomb. Coulomb also pitched in this series. Yeah, I mean, that was part of that Javier Lopez trade at the deadline in, 22? Be working out pretty well for the Orioles. See if Povich gets a spot on the playoff roster. Povich pitching 5 2/3 of an inning, giving up only 2 hits, no runs, and walked 1. Only 2 strikeouts. He had been elevating his strikeout numbers, but, you know, Twins were a little aggressive, hitting the ball on the ground a lot. That's good. Or I guess technically they actually hit more fly balls, but early contact is good. Povich only 79 pitches. Not extending. Brandon Hyde didn't extend too many pitchers this series. for a few reasons. One, he didn't have to. And two, because it is more, especially after this game, it's more of a tune-up to get guys ready for the postseason. Give them some rest, yes. Make sure that edge of the knife stays sharp. Jacob Webb on in relief of Povich, pitching the rest of the 6th inning and the full 7th inning. So 1 1/3 of an inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. There you go. Nice to see him back to form. Or at least in this appearance anyway. Danny Coulomb in relief of Webb, pitching the full 8th inning. No hits, no runs. Does walk a batter and doesn't strike anybody out. But the important thing is after missing, almost half the year, Danny Coulomb seems to be rounding into shape. Sir Anthony Dominguez on for the 9th inning. Again, trying to stay sharp. Dominguez has been struggling a bit as of late. Struggles seem to continue here. Pitching the full 9th inning, gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, walks 1, and no strikeouts. Of course, at the same time, the Minnesota Twins struck out 4 times altogether in this game. That's a very low number. Especially looking at the Orioles, striking out 11. Yeah. Let's get to game 2. Baltimore Orioles 9, Minnesota Twins 2. I guess it's appropriate that a team called the Minnesota Twins gets 2 runs in each of their final 3 games. Jackson Holliday leading off this game. Playing shortstop. Weird. What happened to Gunnar Henderson? Gotta give Gunnar Henderson a day off sometime. Might as well be the second to last game of the year when you've already clinched the top wild card spot and can't do any better. Holliday, 3 for 4 out of the leadoff spot. Well, and walked twice. I mean, a little bit of Twins being eliminated, not caring that much. And Holliday maybe kind of liking the top of the order. Adley Rutschman back to his normal 2 spot. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. What helps it helps if the man in front of you is getting on a lot. It does. It's going to. Santander, over. Well, I guess it didn't help him. Ryan O'Hearn, cleanup. Kind of nice to see more of a power hitter at the cleanup spot. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Ryan Mountcastle DHing in this game. A hit and an RBI. Kerstad out there in left field. Again, a lot of guys got rest. You kind of, like, a lot of the guys that got a rest here, this is Saturday's game, then turned around and played Sunday. Because you don't want to rest them too much and you don't want to play them too much, so they're too tired. So, got to try to balance that. Kerstad with 1 hit. Also struck out 3 times. Ramon Arias playing second base in this game. 2 hits and 2 runs scored. Manuel Rivera playing third here. 4 hits, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Also worked a walk in there. Trying to make his case that he should stick around a lot longer. Austin Slater actually playing center field in this. Mullins getting a day off. Slater with 1 hit, 1 walk, and a run scored. Rivera, Rutschman, Holliday with doubles. Rivera with 2. O'Hearn with 1 home runs. Juggling the pitching staff a little bit for the most part because you have that extra 14 or that extra man. So totaling your pitching staff to 14 the last month of the season. When you go to the playoffs, it goes back down to, 13 per, or at most 13 pitchers. Technically, you could go with 12 pitchers and then 14 position players. We'll just have to see what the Orioles do here. Going in with an opener here with Bowman. Why does Bowman start and throw an inning in a third and then Davidson come in later? Why not just have Davidson first? Who knows exactly why. But Bowman did really good. Pitching 1 1/3 of an inning to start off the game, which is still weird to me, but it works, I guess. Does give up a hit, but no runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Mr. Davidson, what is his first name? Was it like Tucker or somebody? Yes. Tucker Davidson coming on in relief of Bowman. So pitching the final 2 outs of the second inning and then another 4 full innings for a total of 4 2/3 of an inning. Does give up 4 hits, but no runs. Does walk 2, strikes out 1. The key part is there, he ate up almost half the game. Which does, that helps. That helps you. Because then you got to fill another 4 innings somewhere. You can alternate between, today, this day, Saturday, and Sunday. 8 relievers getting 1 inning apiece. Can help you. And again, keep the edge sharp. Now, I think this was originally Kramer's spot. Kramer is, as of right now, slated to be the Game 3 starter, which would be Thursday. So, you don't want him to pitch Saturday and have to go out there Thursday. Yeah, though he would be on full rest. Right? Because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 4.5 days of rest. Could have done Kramer. Could have had him throw 3 innings or something. Could have. They didn't. They chose to option Brian Baker, which means he's not available for the wild card or the divisional series. Whatever, I guess. Yanier Cano in relief of Davidson, pitching the full, what are we in the 7th inning? Pitching the full 7th inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Amped up a bit to face his former team, I guess. Cionel Perez on in relief of Cano, pitching the full 8th inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. And just because there's a number 2 for Twins, Keegan Aiken had to give up 2 runs. Keegan Aiken pitching the full 9th inning, gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Get to Game 3 here. Sunday's game, final game of the regular season. Baltimore Orioles 6, Minnesota Twins 2. Again with the 2. Like they had to score 2. And exactly 2. And funnier if they scored 2 in the last 2 games. The Twins scoring 2 in the last 2 games. Yeah. Sounds like a thing. Gunnar Henderson back in there. Hey, there you are. Yay. Over. Yeah, not a way to end the season. Taken out for Jackson Holliday later in the game, as the game was out of reach. Holliday actually getting 2 plate appearances with a hit and a walk to show for him. Westberg out there, played the full game, hit and 2 RBIs. Rutschman, full game at DH, over. Cowser playing left and center, over. Man, not a great way to end the season. Mountcastle playing the whole game at first base, 1 hit. O'Hearn started in right field, actually with 2 hits. 2 hits, a walk, and 2 runs scored. Kerstad coming in late for defensive replacement and getting an at-bat himself. A hit, an RBI, and a run scored. Time we see that again from him. Mullins getting 3 at-bats before he is pulled defensively for Slater, or more for rest. Mullins with 2 hits and 2 runs scored. Kind of why he was pulled. right? And the day on a high note. Slater 0 in his only at-bat. Ramon Arias 0-2. Not a great way to finish off the season, but Emmanuel Rivera coming in late, 0-2 as well. James McCann, wait for him to finish off the season. 1 hit, 3 RBIs, and a run scored. Also struck out twice. McCann and Kjerstad with home runs. Albert Suarez gets a start in this game and goes 6 full innings, thus practically sealing, nothing's official yet, but sealing the fact that Albert Suarez will be left off the wild card roster. Somewhat disappointing. I would have figured you'd take somebody, I don't know, like Bowman off, because you have no long man. If you leave Povich there, Povich, I guess can be a long man, but you keep Suarez and you have the lefty-righty option. How many relievers do you actually need for a 3-game series? Could you benefit from having 2 longer relievers, one being a lefty, one being a righty? You could. A starter like, God forbid, Burns or Eflin or Kramer, something doesn't go right in one of their starts. And then you have what? At least 7 arms out there in the bullpen. 7 other arms out there in the bullpen. Not exactly sure what they're trying to do here. And honestly, that would be with 12 pitchers. You go with 13 pitchers, then you have 8 relievers out there. I don't know how many you need, but whatever, I guess. So Suarez, pitching 6 full innings, does give up 4 hits, 2 runs, walks 1, and strikes out 4. Very nice performance. It's just sad that he may not get a chance to pitch in the playoffs. Sir Anthony Dominguez on in relief of Suarez, pitching, getting 2 outs in the 7th inning. So 2/3 of an innings pitched, does give up a hit, but no runs, does walk a batter, and strikes 2 out. Gregory Soto on in relief of Dominguez, gets the final out in the 7th inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. To a certain extent, some of that I think is by pitches, right? Dominguez got up to 15 pitches. You don't necessarily want him to pitch too many more. I mean, the first wild card game is Tuesday. He only has 1 day off. You don't want him to go on too long and risk him being too tired. But at the same time, you want him to get some work in to stay sharp. Jacob Webb on in relief of Soto, pitching the full 8th inning. Does give up a hit, but no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. Colin Selby on in relief of Jacob Webb, pitching the full 9th inning. Does give up a hit, but no runs, no walks, and 1 strikeout. It is somewhat interesting to note what the Orioles were doing with their... Actually, let's move that over there. With their pitching staff. Has several moves of note in this series. Getting the information from several other places. I mean, like just watching the team. But Rock Kabako talks about it here in this article. And Steve Molesky talks about it here in this article. Brian Baker was with the club for the first game in Minnesota and then was optioned to the spring league or fall league or something or other, whatever league I can't remember. I already forgot already. And then Mr. Davidson was brought up, Tucker Davidson. Now, the sad thing there is because, what's his name? Brian Baker was optioned because he has to be away for so many days, even though it's the postseason now. He is not available to be on the roster for the Wild Card Series or the Divisional Series. So it is kind of puzzling why the Orioles did that. You could have thrown Dean Kramer 3 innings. You don't really need Tucker Davidson. You really didn't. Somewhat, I mean, it is odd. Because now you don't have Brian Baker as an option. And I really don't even understand that. I mean, again, if Kramer pitches Saturday, he's got Sunday to rest, he's got Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, you would think he would have been okay to pitch Thursday. I mean, one would think so. You never really know, because that would be like 5 days, right? But no, you're without Brian Baker. Not that that's really that huge of a loss. Baker has pitched nicely at certain times for this team, but with all the bullpen arms they got, is there a really spot for Brian Baker? Well, depending on how you go with the other spots and how many pitchers you want to carry. So it would almost kind of telegraph the fact that the Orioles were probably going to only carry 12 pitchers, at least for the wild card round. Thus giving them an option to bring another position player or add another position player to the roster, and maybe that's a fast guy like Mr. Johnson, Daniel Johnson, the outfielder. Fast guy, good defensively. Excuse me. Could be useful in a pinch running scenario. Like, say, for James McCann, if he gets on. If he's the tying run or the go-ahead run, you'd probably rather have somebody a little faster out there. Of course, at the same time, like, who's on the bench, right? You could almost put them in there. Like, Slater's out there. Or even Kerstad. He's probably faster than James McCann. But it is something the teams have done. Essentially having a position player not even play the field. He's out there just to run a track race or something. I think that is the leading theory of one of the final spots. And this Steve Molesky article talks about Tucker Davidson being actually designated for assignment. Or no, it was this article, I guess. Davidson being DFA'd. To recall Selby. Meaning Davidson isn't even available. Which, I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's a nice, give a guy a nice audition for next year, let's say. Because he won't be, I mean, it's almost guaranteed he won't even see a playoff roster spot at all. Which, I guess, to be fair, if you've only pitched like 4 innings for this team the whole year, it's fine, I guess. It is. I think it's somewhat annoying that we don't know the roster yet, but they do have until, sometime Tuesday morning, I think. I want to start up here. I forgot to scroll back up as I was reading the thing there. This article written by Rock Kubaco lays out the tentative timeline of the wild card series. All games are scheduled within the 4 o'clock hour. Tuesday's game scheduled for 4:05. Wednesday's game scheduled for 4:38. I thought it was, which is so weird. Or I guess it was like 4:08, 4:38, and then 4:08 again for Thursday's game. A few extra minutes because it's a postseason thing and you're going to have more hooplas. Yeah, alright. However, but again, it will be 3 straight games. No days off in between. then it should be a day off Friday before the divisional series starts. Take one final look at the standings. Yankees with the top record in the AL. Boo. You're lucky all our guys were injured this year. Only finishing 3 games ahead of the Orioles, which isn't that great. The Guardians with the 2nd spot, and the Astros with the 3rd best divisional leader. So the Astros get the weakest or the least winning wild card opponent. Even though technically the Royals and the Tigers have the same record, Royals have a tie-breaking scenario, so Tigers are going to be playing the Houston Astros in Houston, and the Kansas City Royals are coming here. And the Yankees and Guardians will be sitting there doing nothing until Saturday, right? It's weird. Taking a look at the schedule here. The Orioles website, Madison here, only has the first 2 games listed because I don't know why. Oh, that's right. The Mets and the Braves had to play a doubleheader. That sucks. That sucks. Though at the same time, it's not that funny because they had to play a doubleheader because of the hurricane that was moving up there, and lots of bad things happened to a lot of nice people with the hurricane. Theoretically, hopefully anyway, these first 2 games are played at Camden Yards, and they don't have to play a 3rd one. That would be nice. Actually, not sure if the 3rd game would be played in Kansas City or not. It's a new thing. And it doesn't even say, yeah. Because it's not even on the schedule. Oh well. It's whatever. But we're going to win 2 games, and we're not even going to need a 3rd one, right? Let's just go with that. So all that will do it for this edition of... What show am I doing here? Wow. I wanted to say Ryno's Ravens preview, but that's the wrong show. Orioles Report. It's going to do it for this edition of Ryno's Orioles Report. Stay tuned for sometime later in the week. If it's a 2-game series, I'll talk about it Thursday. If it ends up being a 3-game series, I'll talk about it Friday. And I will go over the series between the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals. Hopefully, happy results. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I am the Angry Ryno, and this is Birdland.